Hello. Did I get your attention? My name is Robert Lemm. Some people call me the Millmaker. This tape is about conditioning. All the film you've seen on the Twilight Zone has a purpose and a meaning. I won't have time to tell you each specific deal, but you can call me on the phone if you want to know something particular about the deal. I'll tell you the most important things about why I put everything on this tape was to show you how to condition your dog, his body, to where he can win a contest for you. And it's a simple deal. When the tape starts off, you'll see that all my friends standing there with Tuffy after the Tuffy and Blue fight contest. And you'll see him walking, and it was in 1973, I think it was. And then, Blue was a Bullyson puppy. His big brother was Bullyson Jr. I flew to Monterrey, Mexico, just to see Bobby Hall contest these two dogs, to see what kind of chance Tuffy would have. Well, when I got down there and seen Blue and Bullyson Jr. fight, they both won. I think Tuffy could have whipped them both in the same night with no problem. He destroyed. You can see that stupid, unsportsmanlike Bobby Hall would even pick up that little Blue dog after he was destroyed in 15 minutes. He couldn't defend himself, and he just let him go ahead and quit standing like a bum that he is. And he's always been a bum, him and his wife. And it's the worst thing for the dog game is people like that. They only care about the money. They don't care about the dog. And so then they'll go on. I want to say this, that Tuffy was the greatest fighting dog I'd ever seen in my entire life. And he was conditioned on a free-turning treadmill and cutaway design. And he never had to take bottom. Matter of fact, Art, Tuffy, Dolomite, Black Lady, Gunner, Trojan, any dog that was worked free conditioned by Stinson and Glover or me or King Glover never had to take bottom to win a contest. Matter of fact, there was never a dog that scratched the Art or Art never had to scratch to win. And any dog that it survived Art never fought again. I think this is the best way to condition a dog. It's proven over years and years and years and years that there's been more famous dogs conditioned freely than there have been strength conditioned dogs. And then the tape will go on, and it will tell you, it will show you the little Gunner dog. The little Gunner dog I bought from Mr. Carver for $50. Because he quit in 17 minutes. It was the worst expression of respiratory failure I've ever seen on a dog. If he'd have took one step, he would have fell down. The other dog on the bottom, with his tongue run out on the canvas, was in the same shape, not quite as bad, but it just wasn't his game. And he took the count. And Jim had bought this dog for $600 from Mr. Carver. And Mr. Carver guaranteed the dog, and they didn't get to see it. I went to Arkansas to film it, and when he come back, Mr. Carver said, "What happened?" Raymond Hope and Don Mayfield said, "That dog's just a cur dog." I said, "Well," I would love to have the dog. He said, "Did he quit?" I said, "He took the count. If that means quit, he quit, but that's a good little dog, and I'd love to have the little dog." He says, "Do you want to buy the dog, son?" I said, "Well, I can't afford that dog." I said, he said, will you give me $50 for him? I said, "Oh, yeah." So I borrowed $50 off of Jim and gave him $50, and Mr. Carver gave him another dog. And how that fight come along, Mayfield and Raymond Host called it cur. They fought him 2 pounds light. They contemplated cutting his tail off. He was standing in mud and water on a 4-foot chain, 8-foot circle, 32-degree weather. His head was sunk in. He was in terrible shape. He was the worst dog I've ever seen conditioned in my entire life. They hollered, cur. Raymond says, "I'll go get a dog and whip that. I'll go get a dog and whip that dog." So he went and got him a 3-time winner. Well, you've seen the little red and white dog. He never put all 4 feet down on the canvas for 45 minutes. He was relentless. Yet he stood the line in 17 minutes and couldn't take a step. If I have time, I'll put that little short clip on there to show you the respiratory failure that the dog had had. And then I'll go on the big bear dog, scratching hard into Pusher, black and white dog that Chicken Sam had. Chicken Sam owned 3 of my treadmills. He owned a bitch mill, a big mill, and a standard mill. And I lost that fight, and it was my fault, and I was very sorry because that was a great 52-pound dog. And I was going to have him. I was going to have come right in on weight at 52 pounds, but we was experimenting. We had been feeding desiccated liver pills in the keep, so we decided to feed the liver. Jim says, feeding liver through the keep. Let's see how he acts. So I fed the liver. Liver has not got enough fat in the meat, so it can't absorb the amino acids out of the protein, no matter how much you feed. And I dehydrated this dog, which I call dehydrating his blood. He had no life-sustaining fat. At 15 minutes, he was in trouble. But he kept on and on and on. And they said that they were going to pick him up if he got in trouble, because he only weighed 50 pounds when I got to the pit. And he was a true 52-pound dog. And so, Pusher it was 115 degrees in the shade. My knees were bloody in the contest. He kept getting in the stifle and kept defending himself, but he couldn't hardly get up or stand up, and they let it go and go and go, and finally he just took the count. But he was a good little dog, and Mayfield hollered cur too on that deal. But the man who owned the dog took him over to Raymond Holt's house, and Mayfield said that if you want to see if he's game, scratch another dog and see if he'll scratch to another dog. So they took him over there and put him on that Dempsey dog, and Dempsey dog tore a hole in his esophagus, and he blew up under the skin like a balloon. Of course, dehydrated and died. He was going to die anyway, but that was just stupidity of Mayfield and people like that. I mean, Mayfield was just so dumb, it's unreal to me. But anyway, then they'll go on, you'll see the little Pepper dog. He was another bully sign dog owned by Robert Corn. Robert Corn knew that he couldn't whip the Tuffy dog, and it was going to be his next fight. And so he sold him to a drunk Indian called Lightning Billy, and you could see that the Tuffy dog was just hung around until the black dog ran out of gas, and when he did, he got back in the stifle, broke the back leg, drained his pipes, he died in 13 minutes. And then you'll see a male and a female. I just wanted to put that on. I don't have time to really tell you about putting a male and a female. One will give way to the other no matter what. Eventually, they're not going to get 2 dead game dogs, one male, one female. The male's going to give away to the female, or the female's going to give away to the male when they heat up because of the hormones and the smell and the nature. So it's not good to match male and female like them drunks did. And so then you'll see Don Mayfield come on with you see Fred Balky, little red dog, give up 11 pounds against Arthur Wood's big Brental male dog out of Whitey Ford. Fred Balky used a free turning treadmill just like Jim's, and took a hell of a thrashing for over an hour and stopped the big Whitey Ford dog, the Brental dog. And then you'll see Don Mayfield with the 400. 400 was a shell of a dog in his third fight. He was a stifle dog, and this was going to be a good, easy fight to make him champion. It ended up going 2 hours and 39 minutes because Sneedley was probably the greatest defensive dog I've ever seen in my life. 400 didn't get back to the stifle not once in the whole fight, and yet he tried and tried and tried. Both of these dogs were conditioned on a Flying Jenny. I know because I went to Mayfield's house on the great mountain and hill, the king of the hill, conditioned his dogs on a Flying Jenny for hour upon hour upon hour, and never let his dog off the Flying Jenny. And the conditioning program himself produced a dog with no life-sustaining fat, So it made for a long, grueling fight. Both dogs were conditioned the same way, with no recovery off the Flying Jenny. And they had no life-sustaining fat, so they went on and on and on and on. They both came down, and it made for a long fight. At the 30-minute mark, Mayfield went over to George Gillum, because George Gillum owned 400, and said, "My God, what's wrong? What's wrong with 400? The first two fights, he survived the conditioning program and the two weak-ass dogs he matched into. So he looked good. He didn't have to try himself. But the third conditioning program wiped him out. He was a shell of a dog. He had no recovery on his feet. He was a game dog. But at the hour mark, Mayfield knew that he was not going to win. So he cheated. So, and what I mean is he cheated. He told me one time that you roll that skin up in your hand when you don't think a dog's going to scratch, and you release him. In other words, you pitch him out there. That's cheating. And in this fight, he knew at the hour mark that this Sneedley was a younger dog. Even though he was conditioned on a Flying Jenny, also with no recovery time, no walking, no life-sustaining fat, he was a younger dog, and it was his first contest. So he was actually stronger and very defensive. 400 was not going to get back in the stifle that contest. So as it went on and on and on, Mayfield began to cheat. And what I mean by cheat is, he would act like, oh, the dog's going to bite me, and he would lift his dog up and put 400 on top of Sneedley. And 3 or 4 times of that in a long fight, Sneedley couldn't get up, and then he couldn't scratch. And Don won the contest. And I call it cheating. And you'll see it on the film in one shot to where he steps like that. And that's where the fight ended, right in the corner, him cheating. But I think they let him die because guess what? His next fight would have been the Tuffy dog. And everybody was hiding 47-pound and male dogs everywhere. They just did not want to go with the Stinson. So anyway, then we'll come on. You'll see my son. He's a bullfighter. He's a rodeo clown by profession. He helps the cowboy when they jump off after 8 seconds or get bucked off before then. He grabs the bull up and gets him off. That's his job in life. And his mother can't even watch him fight bulls no more. She said he's just too crazy. But I conditioned him on a respiratory recovery method when he was a little fighter. He conditions himself on a respiratory recovery method when he has bullfights. 5 bullfighters get together at every bull buck out, and they'll draw for fighting bulls. And whoever fights the bull the best wins the buck or wins the money as a bullfighter. It's an event they have in national rodeos. And then you'll see my daughter. She conditioned herself on a respiratory recovery method on basketball and track, and she in turn conditioned her horses. Ever since she was 7 years old, she'd been doing that to her horses, and when she got old enough to be in sports, I conditioned her to do well. She brought that 15-year-old mare in 1995 in 3 events, won all-around saddle and buckle for the state of Texas. 190 horses she eliminated to win that, and she run the fastest stake race there, 8.1 seconds, the fastest stake race I've ever heard in my entire life or ever seen. She'd come back in 96 and won reserve champ, 2nd place for the state of Texas, with a 16-year-old horse. And now the horse is 17 years old, and a little boy has had him rented for $100 a month because my daughter's in college and working, and he's going to be a great. He's already won 8 saddles and 12 buckles. She's still cooking at 17 years old because he conditions her just like I told him to condition the horse. Just raise her heart rate and then walk her out and let her recover. And don't charge the barrels. She already knows how to run the barrels and the poles and everything. And all you got to do is get her prepared to do it. And then he's going to be a great little cowboy. And you'll hear of him in the future in Las Vegas. He'll be a national rated cowboy for sure. And I'm glad that I could help this fella become a great little rider and a great little bull rider and a roper. He's already won buckles of ropers at 10, 12 years old. He just been a hell of a little cowboy. I wish I could condition him. And then you'll see Mary Jane roping for Coy Lee, and that was a 8.1 ribbon roping. They won the buckle with that roping. I had to put it in there, and then the zone is over. So I want to tell you people, I enjoyed making this tape. I must have had 48 hours of talking and everything, so I can go back through and get all the most important factors of conditioning. I want to tell you about the magazines. The correct way to register your dog as a winner would be to win 3 fights and then put all 3 contests in the magazine. This way, who's to say whether you bought this champion dog to breed to and produce puppies? Who's to say that you actually fought this dog 3 times to get there? Because when you register your fights in those magazines, you are admitting that you are a dog fighter, professional dog fighter for money. And it's a felony. And if you cross the state line, it's a felony. So all they need to know is where you from, where you had the fight, and they got you. If they bring you in front of a grand jury, you're going to spend time in jail, just like Bobby Hall and Danny Burton and the ones that are in jail right now. They're in jail right now from Bastrop in Texas. They're fighting Bastrop. So remember, don't take this magazine. I don't want you guys to be a bunch of magazine dog fighters and retire your dog after 3. My God, guys, after you win 3 around your local town, now you're just beginning into being a real dog man. And you retire your dog. All those champions, they retire because they have such a hard time conditioning their dogs and winning 3 fights. And the conditioning program is so hard on them in the contest that after they get to 3, they're ready to retire, start selling puppies. Well, my God, that's the most weakest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You can do what you want, and you're going to do what you want. You might have to do what you have to do. He had 3 hard fights. Well, if he had 3 hard fights, that's your fault, not his. So, win 3, register them all 3 at the same time. No dates, not your name, and everything. Jack Kelly wants everybody to be the same. He wants everybody to think that they're doing the same thing at the same level. This means it's a vast amount of revenue for him. So don't allow no piss-poor magazine like the Journal with nothing but advertisement. And I used to write in the Journal and thought I was helping you guys out and helping him. And the whole time he put things in there about calf liver with Barney Fife's calf liver right across from the page of where I'm trying to tell you how to really condition your dog. And calf liver is not good. I lost that fight with that big bear dog, and that's what Barney Fife told all you guys to feed, was calf liver. Now, how many of you guys did it? A lot of them, because everybody used to say, oh, I'm picking on poor Barney Fife and everything. Well, I wasn't picking on him. I wanted him to say what he did to condition the dog, and he did, and calf liver was part of it. And then he made a schedule for a dog. Mayfield told us a schedule for how to work a dog. Well, they're crazy. I'm going to prove to you that your dog is the only one that can produce a work schedule. You will see it on a treadmill of mine, a 36-pound jip, run a 15-minute session, 4 minutes on top, 6 minutes recovery on her feet, long striding, and every once in a while jump up on top. At the 10-minute mark, we're going to jump up and we're going to leave, and she's going to break on top for about 2 minutes, wide open, after recovering. She's going to recover for about 3 minutes, and we'll take a heart rate. And we keep her at this 15-minute session until we get her locked up. She's already on weight. She's already produced a tremendous amount of energy. And you'll see with your own eyes the treadmill I used, how many times it turns over. It's like Don Mayfield cheating all them times I've seen him cheat. I got it on film, guys. Who would call it on the great Mayfield? Huh? Because he was a magazine editor with the Pit Report. Then he sold his magazine to Raymond Hope. Neither one of them people knew how to condition a dog. That's why he never told anybody how he did it. He just conditioned dogs without any life-sustaining fat, and all this fights went a long time, and he usually out-conditioned them, but he gave his opponent a chance to beat him, and just very few people could beat him because he had all the better dogs. He had been on every yard in the world looking and checking people's dogs out and see what they had, and he knew who he was going into, so he had a lot of fights, so people tend to believe what he has to say. But he's not much of a dog conditioner as far as I'm concerned, even though he won 85 out of 100 or whatever. Every time he went into Stinson and Glover or somebody like that free conditioner dogs like we did, he lost. He run Jimmy Joe against the Art Dog with Benny Dog. He won. He sold a Gunner Dog to Danny Burton and castrated him. And when Danny asked him what happened to his testicles, he said, well, you bought a combat dog, not a brood dog. How about that? And Danny was his friend. And then, so Danny, he told Danny that the Gunner Dog was the only dog that could whip Dolomite. We went up there and whipped that Gunner Dog in less than 30 minutes. He went into Ruby with that dog that whipped, that female that whipped Pool Hall Red. And he was supposed to, well, I think there was cheating going on there for sure, poison and some kind of stuff. That Pool Hall Red dog, which wasn't a dog could be whipped easy. Mayfield whipped him, so then he challenged Ruby. Well, he couldn't hide no more, so Jim bought Ruby. No problem. Wiped it out. She quit like a car dog, run out of gas. You've seen in this film here with 400 and Sneevely. They're crossed over each other, run out of gas. I want to tell you about that. Who's that draft-dodging sissy that says we lust after blood and guts and that we're crazy? That person is not a very competitive person. Every time he sees my daughter dump that 1,100-pound gelding, or my son fight them bulls, or see a dog fight, he wets his pants. He says we're threatening him. Well, that sissy, he couldn't whip my sister. He's not a very competitive person in life. He got some fights in the dog into the ghetto. A bunch of people who don't even use rules, got grass growing in the pit and stuff like that. No pit walls, and tells the public. He prays on the because he can't go out and get a job. He can't turn his hand at work because he's probably a homosexual. You know what I mean? He needs to sit in a little air conditioning every day, and he prays on the public's opinion about showing these trashy ass dog fighters that don't even know how to condition a dog or use the rules or anything like that. That doesn't make it right when we put two dogs down to kill each other, but at least when we do it, it's competitiveness. It's competitiveness. So don't be careful. These guys are going to get you. When you put your names in the journal, every time you win a fight, you put it in there. Now they know who owns this dog, but if you wait and put 3 in there, just think you just lose all that rhetoric, and you don't need to know who wins 1, 2, so you go beat them because the fight only went 20 minutes. So you go challenge them and beat them. No, all you need to know is where all the champions are, because that's the beginning of professional dog fighting. You understand what I'm talking about? Now you can go out there and challenge. You can challenge a 1-time winner, a 2-time winner, 3-time winner, but you need to go out there and find you, or somebody will call you. If you win 3, I guarantee you somebody will call you. Put those 3 in there and forget about them magazines. Them magazines can't tell you nothing. Them magazines can't make you famous. My peers won't, me and my peers won't allow you to be famous. You'll just be another dog fighter, another magazine dog fighter, putting your business on the street and using those magazines to get famous. You can't be famous. I'm famous. I'm famous, but in my own way. You understand what I mean? I'm not your competitor. You call me and match me, I'm going to get you whipped. And you can bet a pile of money a show dog couldn't jump over. So remember, you're not my competitor, so I can tell you how to condition your dog because I'm for the dogs no matter what you do. You pull sleds, you show your dog, you contest your dog, you hog hunt with your dog. Whatever you do, I don't care what you do. It's not my business. All I want you to do is condition your dog like I tell you, and you will be happy. When you step over the pit wall with that dog in your arms the first time, you'll step over the pit wall the third time, he will feel the same. If you condition your dog like, he will be able to go on and win 7 and retire. Now you want to sell a few puppies? Okay. I have seen puppies in magazines from 3-time winners for $1,000. You got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. Me and every other good dog man, or me and all the good dog men have bred 7-time winner males to 5-time winner bitches, and every one of them got a growl in them. So the deal is, don't sell no dogs, but do what y'all got to do. So this tape is going to go on, and we're going to have us a good time, guys. I'm going to show you how to condition your dog where it won't affect him in the second fight, in the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and the seventh. Retire him. Call me up. I might have something I want to breed to. I ain't going to breed no champion. That's just the beginning for you guys. And I stopped fighting dogs in 1983 when it became a felony in Texas. And for 10 years I conditioned my children, their horses, boxing, boxers, rodeoing. We just did it all for 10 years. And in these 10 years, Red River Curly sold 1,000 treadmills and other people. And I didn't say nothing. In 1993, I went to the pig picking. Some guy named Fat Bill called me and said, Mr. Lemm, are you the guy that builds treadmills all the time? I said, yes, I am. He says, I would like you to come to the pig picking. I said, what the hell is the pig picking? And he said, that's when dog fighters get together and we talk and match and have a good time. I said, well, if I can make it, I'll come. He says, I'll pay your wife and your way here, sir, if you'll come. I said, no, it won't be necessary. If I can come, I'll come. So I showed up, rented a car, and got there, and I started building treadmills again. And so I'm going to show you guys how to. Okay, gentlemen, now we're going to start with the conditioning program, but first you need to know how your dog actually gets the condition in it. Now this is the, she's going to do a 15-minute schedule. She's probably going to jump on top for 4 minutes, and then she'll break stride, and when she does that, of course, when we hook her up, we'll leave, and when she breaks stride about 4 minutes, we'll come back in here, we'll sit down, my son will sit down here, and then we'll sit here to the 10-minute mark, because she'll get to recover freely on this nice treadmill, free-turning, honestly free-turning treadmill, not like other treadmills say they are, or almost like mine. And what she'll do is, when we put her on top, we'll hook her up, she'll be running wide open, we get 3-point hookup. We'll leave the shack and she'll run about 4 minutes. She'll break down. We'll come in here, we'll sit down. She'll long stride till about the 10-minute mark. We'll jump up and we'll leave. She'll stay on top for about 2 minutes, and then we'll, when she breaks down, break stride, because she's oxygen deficient, we'll come in here and we'll put the foot on the treadmill and we'll take a heart rate. And it's a track star heart rate. I got it right over there, out of my reach right now. And I'll use a little baby oil and water on the solar plex, get it wet. I'll put the,
what I'll do is I'll put my foot on the treadmill, stop her at the 15-minute mark. I'll put this heart monitor up under her solar flex where it's wet with a little baby oil, and I'll take the watch and it's going to go on your wrist, but I'll hold it in my hand and I'll push the button and find out her heart rate. Instant. And I'll take her off, pick her up now. Don't let her come off of here because I purposely make this where it'll pinch your toes, because you can win a dog fight pinching their toes and breaking their toenails. But you can't win a dog fight if you put your foot on a treadmill and let her jump down every day. It jars the kidneys away from the backbone that is so rigid because she is in condition. So I want to pinch your toenails if you don't use the cutaway design off and on the mill. It's got to be sale-proof for fools. And only a fool would continually break the toenails. I've never had a dog break his toenails, and I've tried it. I've never. Only a fool would just keep breaking his toenails and complain about my treadmill and not know that it's a cutaway design. That's why. All the rest of the treadmills, you got to stick your dog in the end. And then he will break his toes. But on my treadmill, if you don't do it right, he's going to break his toenails. That ought to give you a warning, but you go on and win. If you continually just let him jump down, put your foot on a treadmill, he's going to get a kidney dysfunction. Not a problem, but a dysfunction. And it might interfere with the weight of your dog. You understand? So always take your dog off and on with the cutaway design. And so after he gets to 15 minutes to take his heart rate, we'll take him for a walk, and I'll go on to explain exactly how this treadmill, being a free-turning treadmill with no stress and strain, will condition your dog. Okay, gentlemen, this is a 36-pound Jip. My son's dog. He's going to put her on a treadmill and hook her up, and we're going to go through the 15-minute schedule, her work schedule that she produced. We've had her at this 15-minute work schedule for about 8 weeks. Waiting to match it. There's the best recovery time right there. It's called a long stride. This weight cake, we're just going to keep her at the 15-minute schedule until we get her back. We won't start adding work till the 27th day before the contest date. jump her back up on top because she's in great shape. But usually they stay at that on top for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then they'll break down in long strides at the 10-minute mark where we'll come in and break them, and we'll leave the room and break them on top again. But this dog's in great shape, and she's ready for some hard work. So we're just going to keep her, because this is her true 36-pound weight. We're just going to keep her at this weight 15 minutes a day until we get her managed, locked up. And then we start adding work. After we take the heart rate on the 27th day, if our heart rate is the same or less than yesterday, we'll take her for a 5-minute walk. We'll cool her off with a hose in Texas weather and stop the lactic acid as quick as we can from forming. Although there's not much lactic acid in a running teeth, that's just for strength conditioning and jump mills. Produce a lot of lactic acid. Too much stress and strain. Isn't that just a beautiful treadmill? Isn't it a free turning treadmill? She can just skip along there. If you don't believe it, just watch the chain go flat while she's walking at her long stride. Nothing, that takes nothing to run this treadmill. She's long striding, recovering. She just really can't wait to jump on top again when my boy leaves the room. Every day, this 15-minute session, she's done it, just like clockwork. And just keeping her on weight. We might try to add a little food to her teeth, a little more protein, a little more water in the teeth to see if she puts on weight. If she does put on weight, well then, we've been feeding her enough. If she don't put on weight, then that will be what we feed her every day to hold her at this 36. We might keep adding food nutrients until she does gain weight at this 15-minute schedule. Because when you start adding work, you're probably going to have to probably lose a little weight, which is usual. You'll probably have to increase the feed a little bit more to keep her at her weight. We know this is her weight because she can do this 15-minute schedule on a small amount of food. How long does it stay on top? You did 4 yesterday, didn't you?
Well, we ran it for almost a minute before we ever...
Yeah. Now she's settled in, recovering. Got plenty of oxygen to jump on top. She's cooking a little fat now. Carbohydrates, calories, that's a standard absorption and a standard use every minute of their life. And when they jump on top at maximum stress, they tend to burn a little fat. And this is before she's even warmed up. It's going to take 2 15-minute sessions just to get this dog warm. And I have went to the contest and won an hour fight and never had to take bottom with just 2 15-minute sessions. The second 15-minute session, the third, the fourth, whatever you plan on putting on your dog, I could care less. They're going to break on top in the second 15-minute session on their own when they feel good, get oxygenated again. They're going to jump on top for a minute, minute and a half when you come back off your walk for each 15-minute session. And when they break down, they can long stride this for the next 15 minutes. I wouldn't care. And the same way with the third one. After they come down off a long stride, off of maximum stress after the next 5-minute walk. 15-minute intervals, lots of recovery time. With my treadmill, they probably can run more miles a day than any other treadmill with less stress and strain on the body. And remember, gentlemen,
people that strength condition their dogs, like the dogs to fight on carpet like a bunch of sissies, and they dig their toenails in there. They can't catch this dog on carpet. No way they can catch this dog on carpet. But I would rather fight her on canvas, like a professional dog man. The watch almost the same as the clock. Just go ahead and keep it by your watch. At the 10-minute mark, we'll break. Yeah, he says the watch is exactly like the clock, so you guys can watch and see this dog work for 15 seconds correctly. A dog can produce a schedule. There ain't no dog man can tell you to do so much work and do all this and do all that. And you can't have this work schedule for a junk mill or a treadmill that has plastic boards, because they slip trying to get on top. That last little push-up. There we go. Okay, gentlemen, she broke stride, so we came back in. I'm confident this dog will fight for 45 minutes wide open and never give the other dog any quarter whatsoever. Whether she can bite, fight, or wrestle or ability, it doesn't make any difference to a dog that's conditioned like this. She was prepared from a puppy, never had nothing but a thin waist on her, never had any excess fat, and surely has never had any excess water to work out of her. And that will take away your air. That's what makes your dog weigh. Water weight. Look at that change. If you don't think that's a free turn treadmill. We will recover to the 15-minute mark, and normally we would take a heart rate. Put that monitor under her shoulder blade, push the button on the watch in my hand, and Joey knows the heart rate every day. And that's all you need to know is what it is. I don't need to know it. Doesn't make me no difference. Every dog usually settles on something different. So when we get ready to add work, the day we get ready to add work, we'll come in here, we'll take her off at the 15-minute mark, check her heart rate. If it's the same or less than yesterday, we'll take her for a 5-minute walk, come back, put her 5 minutes, walk her out, put her up and feed her. The next day, on the 5th day of the keep, we will do the 15 minutes, take her for a walk, take her heart rate, the same or less, take her 5-minute walk, cool her off with a hose, bring her back on here and put her on for 10 minutes. And the 6th day of the keep, 15 minutes, take a heart rate. Now she completed a second 15-minute mark in only 6 days of the keep. Now she just began to warm up. She began to sweat off the end of her tongue. Right now you can see her mouth getting shiny. If I
by the time the 15-minute mark comes, you'll probably see a couple of drops of sweat. She'll cool slowly. Remember, guys, if y'all feed big scoops of chemical, you'll wash out the life-sustaining fat, and she'll cool off the end of her tongue in a 15-minute session, and you won't have any reserve energy. You'll go to the contest energy deficient. You'll have to take bottom. There's no extra moisture in that dog's body except for cooling. And she won't start cooling off the end of her tongue till she gets hot. And she won't get hot for an hour. 45 minutes maybe in a heated fight. She's kind of bored. She really likes to be on top. This treadmill's so free turning she can actually rest on top and not strain herself or get oxygen deficient. This is the correct preparation for the contest. You don't do better in front when you're in front of her?
No, yeah.
We just wanted to recover to the 15-minute mark, so it'll be repetitious work and recovery every day. She produces her own work schedule. We just take the heart rate every day until we get a bad recovery. When you get a bad recovery after adding 15-minute session after 15-minute session, that means yesterday was too much work, too hard a work. Now you're working on the life-sustaining fat as energy. You don't want to go any further than that. I back off a few minutes every day, hover at that to the 27 days, 3 days before the contest, and cut her work in half. And the day before the contest, I cut that work in half again. That way you progressively rest the dog. That way you won't take on water weight. That way, you won't have to take away the water. Tell Andretti, Mario Andretti, to take out half the water in his radiator before he starts the Indianapolis 500. See what he'll tell you. And that's what you do when you take a dog's water away. Okay? Okay, now Joey's going to take her off of there. See, you take loose the wrong one first. Always take that one before. He's going to walk her out so she recovers and come back. We're going to feed her and put her up. Now, about this treadmill. I've already told you about the cracks in the boards and the cutaway design, why it's engineered that way. The 3-point hookup, 2 rings on the collar. The D ring goes back here. You can adjust all size dogs and even puppies. I wouldn't put puppies on here when they're too young. 14 months, 30 pounds. It has to be both that combination. Otherwise, you'll end up with a dog at 2 years old with thin, skinny muscles. And now, foot vibration. People say, oh, my treadmill don't have any foot vibration. Well, of course they don't have any foot vibration, because I've talked about foot vibration on purpose, just like I talked about the crack that pinches their toes and things, but I didn't tell them why. They got wheels up here where it won't pinch their toes. Well, I want it to pinch their toes. Anybody let a dog jump off the treadmill and break and jar his kidneys. The 3-point hookup, to just any dog. That dog will run with his on the back of with that collar. Right on the back of his jawbone, rested in there, just flying through here. The reason why they can run this treadmill so fast is because the foot vibration, and boards rock, and they get to push off on that board, that last board that rocks that over that wheel. That gives them more extension. That turns this treadmill over faster because it is a free turning treadmill. Now the 1 inch higher in front than the back, because good reason. Because we incest and outcross dogs to produce these fine, athletic, combat dogs. On average, incest outcross dog that's produced is 3/4 to 1 inch higher in the hips than they are at the withers of the shoulders. So actually, they're running down, actually, it's easier to run on my treadmill than just running down the road. Because this fits all closer than any other treadmill. And that old slanted treadmills like that, they have to do it like that. Because they've got to tease them with a bull coon. Because they don't turn as free as this treadmill. So, remember that I always say that put a piece of masking tape on here. Put your hand on here, like this treadmill's got a piece of masking tape on. Well, Joey took it off. But I guarantee that this treadmill, every new treadmill I send, will turn over 3 times. So all the other mill makers try to get to that 3 and don't try to go any further. Well, that's what I want. I don't want them to be able to have a treadmill that will go over 3 times. They're pushing like that. Because I know that if you work 2 or 3 dogs, every treadmill I build will go over 6 or 7 times. Joey said he can do this 8. How about that? How about that? That's more than 3, I guarantee you guys. So, all the things that they say are bad about my treadmill is what it takes to build a 3-turning treadmill. And and it has 24 adjustments. It has in and out, up and down on each hanger. And north and south on each hanger. There's 24 adjustments to get this roller tray flat, perfect, and in the center, and to run. So, this treadmill's been engineered to condition a dog with the least amount of stress and strain, but raise the heart rate. And then, of course, the only thing I've ever done on a dog's schedule is figured out their recovery time. And no other treadmill can they recover and jingle along here on their 36-pound hip, just jingle along here on their feet and recover. Because on other treadmills, they might look like they're doing this, but they're still tugging at it. You overwork your dogs, they don't get to recover as easily. So that's overworking your dog. And when they're on top, the same way. If they don't turn like this, they're actually on top. Oh, my dog can run that thing for 10 minutes. Yeah, because you've conditioned your dog to run on top, that hard-pulling piece of junk, for 10 minutes. In other words, you're conditioning the dog to run the treadmill, not in preparation for the contest. So guys, you need to always remember, no matter what they say, I have worked over 200 dogs. I've seen them contested. I've seen 1,000 dogs contested. And all the people who do it like I say, contest better whether they win or lose, and they know they did everything they could to win a dog fight. Okay? Going to the next mode of conditioning, guys.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to hold back on this dog so he won't get ahead of the Jenny won't get ahead of him. Come on, son. Come on, son. I'm going to let him get in his rut until he gets back to the stress. Then we're going to take him off and cool him. This might be for 30 seconds. It might be for a couple of minutes. This is about the 20th or 30th time I've had this dog on a Jenny. He's pretty well found the rut. I'm going to hold back on this Jenny a little bit and let him get in the rut. Come on, son. Come on, son. Take it, son. The trick of this deal is, to condition the dog, is to flush his kidneys with as much water. And never let him strain himself. He'll start throwing a little bit of white foam out of his mouth. As I take him off, cool him off with a hose, walk him out, put him up. Hour or two later, bring him back here, get him hot again. And this way, you burn up all the excess fat in the body, and the body learns to cool, and you do the same thing in the pit. I don't strength condition, take too much fat and oil to build muscle, and the dog overheats. There's a running key. He's fixing to bite the chain, I think. This dog has never been really hot, except when I first put him on there. White foam came within 30 seconds. He's going to finally find a rut. He's going to cool there. And I'm going to teach this dog to cool here at home and give him plenty of recovery time to cool off. This sets up a flowing of moisture that he drinks so this dog can cool the entire contest. See a little white foam showing at the mouth. He's beginning to falter. As long as he don't jerk into the chain, I'm going to leave him on here. But the white foam is beginning to show. At the end of a good conditioning piece, his mouth will be shiny and wet, no foam, because it cools from his mouth and his tail. A dog doesn't perspire. He has to cool from his mouth, from his tail. I'll shave his tail and the base of his spine, leave a little tuft on it, he looks like a big old black lion. You clean the dog's body up, it takes 10, 15 days of this. And as many times as you want, every day. Now, he's beginning to get the maximum stress, he's cooking fat, he's speeding up. Now you're going to start lunging. And when this dog starts running his rut, gets shiny on the mouth, clear, cooling, he will be ready for his hard work. Not until. You can't strain a dog with white foam in his mouth. He's oxygen deficient, you hurt the body. You will never condition this dog to beat me or my peers. So, I'm going to take him off, water him with the hose, cool him off, wash him out, go one little way down around. I'm going to stand here a little bit, get a little oxygen, and then he'll follow me. Okay? I'm going to cool this dog down. Stop the lactic acid that might form. Well, they were this dog 5 days. I have not stressed him or strained him. Try to get as much water in as you can. I'm going to show you guys how to work a dog. Stress-free. That's in preparation for the contest. This dog weighs 56 pounds. Don't know what he weighs now. Don't care. Somebody else gets his weight. I'm going to bring him in perfect. If he's heavy, they have to pay the forfeit. If he's not heavy, you know, I put up with a little bit of weight. So what? He's right. I'm not going to bring this dog to weight. That's ridiculous. This dog should have been worked for 15, 20 days. So find out his damn weight. Before you ever strain him, put any hard work on him. You'll find out his weight. Then you match him. I'll show you guys how to rub a dog. Rubbing a dog is very important. The dog gets sits on his ears, gets screaming and howling. Bite him on the foot, screaming and howling. Take your fingertips on his snout. Hard as you can. Don't pull at his ears real hard. Get your fingers down his ears every day. Use ear mite medicine. Get all that excrement and eggs and dirt and stuff out of his ears. I do his shoulders, fingertips. Does his brisket. That's solar plex, very important. It helps you open the lungs up. Down his back, no kidneys. Don't even let anybody wash those kidneys in the tub. Squeeze the kidneys between the legs and the pit, you can lose. Flat hand. Go down his legs, squeeze them. Don't squeeze the joints real hard. Squeeze his feet lightly at first. You get tighter and tighter, he'll pull away. The other one, same way. He gets bit on the ear or the foot, he won't scream and howl. People think he's a cur dog. Even if he is a cur dog, you can beat him. And feet. All his bones. The nerves on the outside of the bones. Even if you break a bone besides it, you won't go into shock as bad. Pull on that tail. Makes him grease light because of his balance. You put him in good shape, he will be able to get back there eventually to side. He'll be able to do anything he wants. When two dogs fall to the bottom of the pit, take their turn resting, they can't get back to the side. Even if they want to. You can massage a dog as many times as you want. It never hurts. You can walk a dog after the keep. A minute as long as you want. The more you walk a dog, the more you set the body fat in there, life-sustaining fat that he can use in the concept and not get winded. Too much fat, too much water takes away their air. Takes away the air, takes away their oxygen. They can't breathe. They got to take bottom and rest. Now I can't tell people how much work a dog has needs getting. His size, how bad a condition he was when he started, or how good a condition he was when he started. When this dog foams at the mouth, white foam, or is really breathing hard with his tongue run out, the first time you put him on a flying Jenny or a treadmill or a 10-speed bike, he got no air. Too much fat, not enough cooling. You can overwork this dog by leaving him on there, no matter whether he's got white foam in his mouth or not, too long. And the fact is that you dehydrate all the inside of your dog, and his skin still pulls up. That's nothing. That doesn't mean the dog is dry or wet. It means most of the time that he is wet. But you can take a dog and dehydrate his blood by leaving him on there without recovery and not enough force-fed water in it to where you will dehydrate the blood, the internal organs, and he'll still be this way. So this is a good check, sure. But you need to think about what you did on the flying guinea, or the treadmill, or the 10-speed bike. So, always remember, just take your time, never overworking. You can take 10, 15, 20 days at 10, 20, 30 seconds on there. If you get tired, take him off. You'll notice as you progress and more fat's burned up, and he begins to utilize the water to cool himself, he'll get white foam like today, like you saw a while ago, but it won't be come out of his mouth and his tongue ain't run out like the first 15, 20 times I put him on here for 30, 40 seconds, a minute. One time it was 3 minutes, just to see if his mouth would clear up, and it didn't. He didn't have no moisture in his body. He'd run the chain all day in the sun, and he got in the habit of cooking fat, chewed up all the feed bowls, and dig holes, and everything. He cooks fat. So you're going to get all this fat, and also he won't heat up. And now you'll start using the food and vitamins and minerals correctly. And after I get finished putting this dog on the chain here in a minute, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some ice cold water, and I'm going to pour it in about an inch in the pan, his pan. Then I'm going to take some of that warm bacon grease or that chicken fat that I'm making up on the feed tube, and just get it on the spoon and run it in that water, and that chicken fat will float to the top, and he'll think he's eating chicken broth. And I'll get me 1.5 to 2 inches of water in him for the next, in about an hour I'm going to go over there, and he's going to be over there resting. He's going to run that chain. He ain't digging no holes. He might want to soon bring him over there because he's still cooking fat. That's it. So this is what we want to do. We want to reserve his life-sustaining fats that he can convert into energy and save his life and won't affect his hair. Any other body fat, like using the strength conditioning, pulling weights, shaking on hives and all that, and an overabundance amount of chemicals that you put in there to feed the dog to build muscle and strength. When he goes to the pit, he's going to start cooking fat, he's going to get hot, and I guarantee you go to the bottom. I can almost look at a dog before he starts and tell you when he goes into his maximum stress in the pit because of the way his muscles are all swollen up and knotted up. So, I'm showing you how to put the dog on the flying Jenny. I'm telling you all about whether he foams at the mouth and gets what I call a shiny mouth, clean and slick, and it's cooling off the end of his tongue. Play people work the dogs through the whole teeth, and they never shine, and they never get sweat off the tongue. You should always, when you get the dog right and ready to work, when you first put him on there, the first thing he's going to do, before he even gets the maximum stress, is start sweating off the end of his tongue, because he cools from his head and his tail. I'll probably repeat myself in this film time after time after time, but I'm telling you, if you just watch this and work the dog accordingly, don't just put him on there for a certain time. There ain't nobody got no conditioning program with a certain time element. It's this dog. It's how long he stays at maximum stress before he breaks stride, or before the foam gets in his mouth. And then after the foam quits shining, he starts shining at the mouth. When he gets over the top, he'll stay in that rut. He'll be at maximum stress for 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes, depending on where you're at in the key. And then as soon as he falters, and the Jenny starts going in front of him, and he starts lunging at it, trying to catch up, he broke stride. He is oxygen deficient. There ain't no use working him any longer. You're hurting your dog. You're setting in all this body fat with too much temperature. And you're straining the dog. You don't want to strain his kidneys. You want him to be oxygen efficient while you condition him. Because when you do this, when you never overwork a dog, that means you give him recovery time to reoxygenate the body. And he's going to get oxygen from H2O water, and he's going to get oxygen from breathing. And a small amount of cooling of the air running in and out of his chest. That's how he cools his blood. And if you work a dog like I tell you, you don't ever overwork it. And if he breaks stride and you can't get but 30 minutes of this dog, then 30 minutes is all you need to do with this dog. He will be prepared for the pit. If you think 3 to 4 hours of work after this dog's mouth went dry or gets the white foam in it, and you keep him on there for 2 or 3 hours a day, and never take him off and walk him, I guarantee you that's not preparation for contest. He will run out of gas and he will have to take his turn on bottom. I won't, and I'm going to beat you. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to show you a conditioning tape of a dog. He's going to do the 15-minute session. They brought me this dog at 58 pounds. His previous fight was at 50. He won. 6 months later, he bring him to me at 58 pounds. The lowest I could get this dog was 53 and a half. Matter of fact, this is the 15th day in the keep. I used actually 15 days of off and on the Jenny, like you've seen him, cleaning him up, getting as much moisture out of the body as possible, preparing him for hard work. Most of the fat, although he had still some moisture and some fat, at 53 and a half. He could probably, and that's all he could fight at. I couldn't have got him any lower.
So I rushed him, and so I couldn't put a lot of hard work on him. So I prepared him for the contest the best way I could. And I ended up only doing 2 15-minute sessions. You can see he could run this treadmill faster, and he has, but he settled in on this time to build up maximum stress, and then you'll see him recover, and you'll see me take him off at the 10-minute mark, and leave the shack at the 10-minute mark and break him on top again, and then I'll come back in after he falters or breaks stride and sit there at the 15-minute mark, and I didn't even have to take his heart rate. I suggest that you people take his heart rate with the first couple of dogs, so you can actually see what's going on inside of a dog, and that way you will really understand what you're doing to this dog. And to go on, well, to make a long story short, he came in at 53.5. They came and picked him up 3 days before the contest. I had him put a 15-minute session on him 3 days out. Had him put a 15-minute session on him the second day out, the day before the contest, and put him on the treadmill for 5 minutes, 12 hours before the contest. They went to the contest. He had to take bottom because the dog he went into with even less condition, with more moisture and more fat in the body, so he was stronger, and kept him on the bottom for about 10 minutes. So he'd get up and go back to the bottom and get up. At the 10-minute mark, he got up. The other dog faltered, was maximum stress, deficient, oxygen deficient, and he chased this dog out of the pit in 17 minutes and won his second match. I wish I had time with this dog. He could have been, I think he could be another bully son. They brought me this dog at the right time. I told them if they let me use this dog, that I would give them a free conditioning tape. And they said, okay, because they thought I could condition him better than him, considering they had such a small amount of time. Now, gentlemen, this is a good example. If this dog would have been raised correctly, kept a small waist on him, never feeding too much food, wet food, if he had a waist on him and kept correctly and done right throughout his whole life, I wouldn't have all this time and trauma to get all this fat out of him and everything. And then I could have got him where he could have ran a 15-minute schedule to produce his own work schedule. And then I would just cruise along there, start adding food, and see if I can raise his weight up. And if his weight came up, then I was feeding the right amount of food, so I go back down to what I was feeding him to run this efficient 15-minute schedule. And then if when you start adding work, 27 days before the contest, you start adding that 5 minutes a day to build up another 15-minute session. If he has a good heart rate, the same or less than yesterday, you probably have to start adding a little more protein and never add more chemicals, because, like I say, too much chemicals will wipe out his life-sustaining fat, and you'll go through the contest energy deficient, and you'll sweat off your tongue in the first 15 minutes. You see this dog has a little white foam. He'll start slinging a little white foam. He's not completely cleaned up from moisture. That's where the weight is. Although he probably won't fight any lighter than 53 or 53.5. And once you win a contest, don't let a dog gain all that fluid and everything. If he don't have any broken bones, and after a couple of weeks walking him, put him back on here and keep him at the 15-minute schedule until you get him locked up again. Don't let this dog get a bunch of fat and oil in his body and water in his body, because you can never win seven fights with a dog that you allow to get fat and accumulate all this water. Now, he broke down. He run it for 5 minutes, you see. So that'll tell you that he couldn't get on top because his air was cramped with the moisture and fat in his body. And so he just ran it with more endurance for 5 minutes. But generally, about 3 minutes, if this dog was in great shape, he would stay on top for 3 minutes, break down, and recover for 7. But he's going to go on here, and he's going to walk out, and he's going to recover, and he's going to get a little oxygen, and he's going to feel good. There you go. He got a little fat, a little more fat got into the system, and he burned a little more fat because his body heats up and burns fat as energy. The calories and the carbohydrates, and it's just stable all the time. And the increase of carbohydrates and calories. Remember, when you walk briskly, you burn fat. When you run, you burn calories. And carbohydrates is a stable diet for energy. And even though he's running on maximum stress, he's not burning that, using up that much more carbohydrates. That's a stable energy source for his life. So remember, it's the fat source in the body that you feed every day to create this life-sustaining fat that he can go to the pit energy efficient and not have to take bottom. A running keep will control the amount of water. If he's cleaned up or never been fat in his life and kept a waist on him, the only moisture in his body will be for cooling. And the only time you're going to sweat off the end of your tongue is when you warm up. And the more you warm up, the more you sweat off. And with this running keep being so efficient and so much endurance, he will sweat off as he warms up and he heats up. He will not have a hot spot. He will go on, and when your opponent falters, or both good conditioned dogs falter at the same time and slow down, they get to recover on their feet and don't have to take bottom. It's a simple deal. And just like when we get to the second 15-minute session with this dog, let me tell you, gentlemen, when he comes back off his 5-minute walk after that first 15-minute session, I could care less. He's going to break on top after I cool him off with a water hose in those old Texas weather. Matter of fact, there's a gauge right there, and it says 93 degrees. You can't see it. It's face down, but it's 93 degrees in this shack right now. The fan is blowing across the front of him, not on him, because the nerves will sense a cooling that's not cooling. In other words, he'll feel like he's recovered, but he won't. So put the fan blowing across the front of him to circulate the air in the shack. And that way, when he gets a little energy and gets oxygen efficient, he'll jump back on top. See, he jumped back on top again because he still has a little fat in the body. And he's foaming at the mouth because he still has a little water in. But his mouth is open, his tongue is loose in front, and he's cooling very well for the amount of time that I've had with this dog. It was a perfect dog to use to show you people how you enter the contest not correctly. And most of the time it's because you didn't prepare in preparation for that 15-minute session that your dog can produce his own work schedule. As you can see, the chain on the back, it goes loose a little bit when he walks, so you know he's not straining himself. I want you to look at a dog work on a treadmill that you buy so you can see your dog do this. If that chain doesn't go slack like that and he's continually pulling tight into the chain with a walk, the damn thing turns too hard. You understand what I'm talking about, guys? And if you take your dog off the treadmill like you're supposed to because it's a cutaway design, he won't pinch his toes, he won't break his toenails. There's one thing he damn sure won't do is when his back legs hit the floor, and they will hit solid because they're in great shape, and will not jar the kidneys. Sometimes dogs jar their kidneys so many times during the day that they start taking on fluid. It's a kidney dysfunction that's used for. So this treadmill is designed to work a dog correctly with no danger, or no stress or no strain on the body. And this is exactly what in preparation for the contest, because you strength condition your dog, you create muscles that can create a lot of lactated in. See, I left the shack then, gentlemen. So he broke on top. I'm hiding behind the door. He can't see me. When he breaks down, I'm going to come in there and sit down in front of him. And then he's going to recover. And that's the same thing I'm going to do with the pit. I'm not going to talk to this dog. I'm not going to get in this dog's face until my opponent falters. Then I'm going to get in his face, hoping to create some recovery time. If this dog ever recovers on his feet, he is going to jump on that other dog and never let him up and force him to quit. You win the contest, guys, because you got in his face at the same time. When I'm outside the shack, he's at maximum stress. I'm not in sight. When he needs recovery time or gets a chance to get some recovery time in the pit, I get in his face. He takes a big old chunk, he shakes, and he goes to work in the dog. If he's in real good shape, he probably won't even need recovery and just keep mowing the dog down. You win the contest, guys. So don't get in a dog's face until you want him to get recovery time like he's doing right now. It's a habit. You can train your dog to do this, guys. I heard them people say, what's that old man doing? He's crazy. Now he gets in his face? He should have been in his face a long time ago. Well, I ain't no magazine dog fighter. I know how to condition a dog, and I damn sure know how to handle a dog in the contest. I've never had no trouble getting a handle because my dog is ready for it. My dog doesn't fight for an hour and go to the pit energy deficient, and the fight goes 2 hours, and they both come down at the same time, and they try to get back to stifle, and they can't, and they stumbling around and pushing on each other, taking turn on the bottom. That's because they can't get back in the stifle. Tuffy or Dolomite, any dog we condition, they run the dog out of gas, and they got back there. They would have got back in the Sneedly stifle in 15, 20 minutes when he faltered. 400 couldn't do that. They were both conditioned without any recovery time on a flying jetty. They both come down off of maximum stress with no life-sustaining fat to use as bonus energy, which you protect and you retain by taking your dog off the treadmill and letting him recover. Now, when he goes to the pit, that life-sustaining fat that he'll use to save his life, he might not ever use, even if it goes into a long fight. But if he does have to use it, and he does have a long, hard fight, and he does have to use all his energy, he'll work on life-sustaining fat, he'll burn that up, and you'll win, and it'll save his life. If you don't use that life-sustaining fat, guess what, guys? The next conditioning program will be just like this, because you did not exhaust your dog to a point to where he has to come back after using up his life-sustaining fat. So the 15-minute check every day with repetitious work will protect your life-sustaining fat. Just as soon as you keep adding 5 minutes, another 15-minute session, and 15-minute session after 15-minute session, and you get a bad recovery, what does that tell you? That means that yesterday was too hard to work for this dog. He's beginning to use up his life-sustaining fat. And guess what, guys? You back off a little bit of work, keep him there till 3 days before the contest, cut that work in half. The day before the contest, cut that work in half again. 12 hours before the contest, if you're not on the road traveling, put him on a treadmill for 5 minutes. When you go to the contest, you will be energy efficient. You will have reserved your life-sustaining fat for emergency to save his life, or never use up and be prepared for the next conditioning program. Remember, don't let him get fat on a chain, get any washes. Just as soon as you think he can take his little 15-minute session, that's all you do. Every day you do that until you get him maxed up. And when you get him maxed up 27 days before the contest, start this program all over again, guys. That way you can win fair. That way you don't get a fluffy tail and retire him at 3 and start selling puppies. Now, how easier could that be, guys? The dog produces his own schedule. No other dog, man, no matter how many fights he's got, old beat-up guys, old stupid-ass strength conditioners. When you strength condition a dog, when he gets in the pit, he produces lactic acid. He gets weak. He has to take the bottom. With a running keep, you produce a lot less lactic acid, and you cool him off with a hose to even stop that. You don't have to cool him off the hose one time. So I'm going to take him off, and I'm going to give him a little 5-minute walk. You can see he's been at maximum stress several times, and he's recovered on his feet. So I'm confident I'm going to do good in this contest. I don't know if I'm going to win, but he did.
The end of his fingers is overflexed, so I don't hurt his 50. Empty him out.
Okay, guys, I brought him back, cooled him up with a hose. We're going to do another 15-minute session. I might cut it out to add any more if I get more than I can handle. But see how I put him on that treadmill? Didn't break his toenails, didn't jar his kidney. I set the clock, so he'll get I'll walk him a little longer, or a little less than 5 minutes. He didn't need it. I hook him up the 3-point hookup. He's already running fast. I'm going to build up maximum stress, and then we're going to... And see, the second 15 minutes, I could care less what he does. I sat down right in front of him. And you'll see when he gets to 25 on the 5, he might break on top on his own, or I might make a move to raise his heart rate, and then just let him recover. Just let him recover at that heart rate with a lot of oxygen until he decides to break on top. And then just... And I wouldn't care if he ever broke on top again, as long as he just went ahead and walked it out. In the next 15 minutes, same thing. He's going to break on top after the second 15 minutes session. Guess what, guys? This dog is not even warm yet, and he's in really not the best shape. Okay, you're going to start seeing a little saliva. It's got a little white foam to it, but it's running for cooling. He doesn't need to cool yet because he's not even hot. There's no extra moisture in this dog per se, or will be in your dog at this on his second 15-minute session, because it'll be clear mouth, and he will cool when he warms up. I guarantee you, gentlemen, I have taken dogs to the pit with just 2 15-minute sessions, and an hour walking before and 2 hours walking afterwards to set that life-sustaining fat. And of course, you don't feed a lot of water once you get a dog to do that, his own schedule for that 15-minute pre-keep, day after day after day. You can see he's cooling off the end of his tongue now just a little bit. You'll see it come off the end of his canines, gentlemen. He'll set his own cooler. So he'll drink all the water he needs during the day. You might just put a little bit of water in his food to where he can swallow it, especially if he eats fast. Some of these dogs think they're starving to death. You understand what I mean? It's just a habit. But, yeah, he's really doing good considering, guys. Now, I got right at 15 days to increase his work, clean up the rest of the fat and moisture out of his body, come to the contest the best I can. And I can't put too much work because he will get hot. If he gets hot, then when he overheats that way, I can't use up. I'll start sweating off the tongue too soon. And then I'll dump all my coolant in the first 30 minutes of the contest. Now I'm energy deficient, guys. I can't cool. I have to take bottom to rest. Now, gentlemen, I only can put 2 hours on this tape, so I'm going to have to leave off a lot of stuff I wanted to show you. I might get this shacking if I can just sum up this satisfactorily for you guys. Your clock, you put on the wall, take a glass off a clock, pull the big hand off. The 5 minutes is the green, the walk, where you cool your dog off, and make sure he's empty before you put him on there every day. Take him back to the same little bush and put him on the treadmill for a couple of minutes, take him back, take him to his favorite bush, make sure he's empty, then let him take his 15-minute schedule every day. Just take the glass off of here and just every day, just do that. And he'll go ahead and break on top. Like I say, the most important thing is to raise the dog correctly with a waist. That means he doesn't have too much fluid. That means when you start in preparation for the pre-keep, that you're going to keep him after you get him matched up and start hard work, he won't have all this moisture his body tries to use out of his muscles that produces lactic acid, which the water he drinks the day that day to cool himself is going to go right through him, out of his kidneys, until he does have all the moisture out of his body. And how many people go to the pit with big old muscles? It's not a true weight. It's not his true weight, so he overheats because you didn't clean him up. You didn't raise him right as a puppy. You should have only a few dogs, not a yard full of dogs. Who needs 20 dogs to be a great dog man? Nobody needs 20 dogs unless you want to be a puppy peddler, unless you want to be a magazine dog fighter. You understand what I mean? King Glover, me, and Stinson, all together, our yards, we didn't have 30 dogs. And we kept everything exercised, everything on the Jenny, everything on the treadmill. If anybody called, we had it. We didn't care how good a dog he was. He was bred right. He looked decently game. We didn't overroll these dogs and see if they're game. How can you tell they're game? They're fat, greasy, no air. You're testing his gameness? Well, that's crazy. If I see 5 minutes out of that female and she stays at it for 5 minutes in the shape that she's in, if she quits, well, I did everything I could, and she ain't going to quit till she gets tired and takes bottom. You think that little female's going to take bottom before 45 minutes or even slow down? Hell no. So why should I test her gameness? I'm a believer in blood and good-bred dogs. But people who have a yard full of these good-bred dogs sell puppies, put their fights in the magazine. So now this is the clock deal. I'm trying to hurry up because I've got 2 hours. If I spend over 2 hours, it costs me a lot more money to have this film made. Okay? Now, Metabolog 2. Bob Fritz put me on it. He's a good friend of mine. He's helped me out with conditioning. I only use 1 tablespoon for up to a 40-pound dog and proportionately 2 to a 50-pound dog. Proportionally along the way, whichever they weigh, 45 or a tablespoon and a half. Don't ever use a whole lot of chemicals, big prescribed scoops that come with the thing, all that carradine, all that kind. That is for muscle heads. That's for steroid freaks that look in the mirror. They see them muscles, they think, I win. Bull. That means, to me, it means lactic acid. It takes strength conditioning to make them big muscles. You're not using the right technique. In other words, a running keep. You haven't seen no track star produce any lactic acid, have you? No, because he's on his true weight. He doesn't have any water weight in his body. The only water moisture he has in his body is used to cool. And the only time he's going to cool, the only time he's going to cool off the end of his tongue, not a track star, but the only time a track star is going to cool is when he gets warm. Not even hot. You ain't seen no track star run a 27-mile marathon and get hot and breathe hard because he never got hot. What he did and conditioned himself, he never got hot. This is how you condition a bulldog. Don't let anybody tell you any different. So don't chemical feed. A whole lot of chemicals. Just a very small amount of this pure chemicals, vitamins, minerals, all 7 or 9 amino acids. It just sensitizes the system so that your stable protein, your chicken with oil in it so it can absorb good amino acids. The most digestible protein in the world is chicken. You understand? I crock it and for 24 hours when I run out, and then I'll make enough for 7 days, 8 days, 10 days, and I give a 32-pound bitch that's been doing this pre-keep 15 minutes for 2-3 months, 4 months. One big old serving spoon of chicken. Okay. Remember, enough red meat, 92% lean, about the size of a golf ball, which you can hide in your hand every day. If you want to give it too cold, if you want to freeze it, okay. If you want to just let it room temperature, okay. But the trick is the digestion. You don't want to feed a lot of water in your feed keep because you want the nutrients to stay in the stomach as long as possible so that the stomach acid can digest this food. You get more out of it. The more water you put in it, the faster it leaves the stomach. The colder it is, the faster it leaves the stomach, undigested. So warm a dog's food. 100 degrees is really nice. 98, 100 degrees, that's nice. That's the stomach. That's about the temperature of a dog's stomach. You understand what I mean? The brewer's yeast tablets. I give anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 brewer's yeast tablets, depending on the dog, how fast his metabolism is, how fast he empties out. This brewer's yeast will create a vast amount of stomach acid and help the digestion. Raw gelatin. God only knows what it does for the dog. I can't specifically say, but we've been given this since Jim Stinson went to A&M. His daddy was a vet, I think, at A&M. I'm not sure. And So I give one pill of royal gelatin. We don't know what it did, but it sure made, we thought it made Art and Tuffy and Dolomite fight when no other dog man that added this did, because, but really we was beating them with technique and respiratory recovery method. And I give a half of one of these pills, which would make it 125 mg of vitamin C. You don't have to, but I usually start this vitamin C before the pre-keep. And then when I get into the keep, a dog doesn't need a whole lot of vitamin C, or he'll sweat off the end of his tongue too much. So you'll be able to gauge this. Big dog can surely take this 150 mg. And if you want to be sure and safe, break that in half, and then it'll only be 75, okay? And my Carboplex made by Champion that Bob Fritz sells. I don't have the can, and I'm out of Carboplex, but I put it in this jar because I use just a teaspoon on any size dog. That's a quick usage. It's short-lived. It's chemicals. It's pure. You're only going to get so much good. Too much of this, wipe out your dog's kidneys. Chemicals. Wipe out his life-sustaining fat. He'll dump all this fluid. Okay? Now, a dog that was raised correctly, no excess body fat, no excess moisture, say 3 or 4 weeks of this technique, off and on the treadmill, off and on the 10-speed bike, and he's come to his weight, he's cooling off the end of his tongue only when he gets hot, at maximum stress or whatever. Any vet will tell you that a canine needs a vast amount of fat in their diet throughout their life, whether they're being conditioned or not. That's just the canine's way. So sometimes you can add, if you had a hard time with your dog getting a lot of water weight, or your dog was too heavy, and water weight, now remember, water weight is 97% of the body. So the bigger muscles you have, the more extra moisture you have in the body. Okay? And so sometimes in the process of cleaning a fat dog up, a wet dog up, he uses the energy and life-sustaining fat before he can strip his body of fat. And, of course, he's going to, because he's fat, he's going to overheat every day, and that's more or less overworking him, and he might even dehydrate. So you might want to add about an eighth of a baby spoon, maybe 2 or 3 drops of this Energol. It's made by Hoffman's. It's hard to find, but you can find it if you love your dog. This will replace his life-sustaining fat. Too much of it will create overheating, and then you'll have too much oil in the body, and he won't be able to cool right. So you're going to have to gauge this yourself. I don't know the condition of your dog, but this will really keep, along with the KD diet, all the prescription dog food you get at the vet. The KD diet is for kidneys. It won't hurt your kidneys. You use it as a filler to give your dog a little bulk from food, so he won't think he's starving to death. So it will replace your life-sustaining fat. Too much of the KD diet will overheat your dog. So remember, it's you're going to have to understand how to feed keep your dog. Feed keep to me is really nothing. I mean, you can miss it and be at maximum stress so much and be such a track star and such an endurance runner. You really can't. This feed keep is 0. Don't let nobody tell you this shit on the can makes you win a fight. No. It's technique. It's cooling. It's life-sustaining fat. It's not overworking your dog by teasing him on a treadmill and keeping him at maximum stress all the time. What are you trying to do? Run him out of gas before you get there? No, you use up his life-sustaining fat. You hope to end up at the end of a fight. You hope to end up at the end of a fight with not using up your reserved energy. Now it's very easy to go right into the pre-keep until you get matched up again. Don't let these people tell you, these old dog fighters say, I always let them gain 2 or 3 pounds so to rejuvenate themselves. Well, your dog was conditioned. You understand what I mean? He took that hour fight, that 2-hour fight, because he was conditioned right. He ain't going to die on you. Of course, never forget to hit them with that Solar Delta. The 2-part bottle. You push the top stopper. The bottom stopper pushes in. You shake it. You try to get at least a half a cc in an IV. If not, you can put the whole damn bottle under the skin in frequent time. Okay? That Solar Delta will raise a dog from the dead. You understand what I'm talking about? And of course, get fluid in him if he ain't got an IV, or he hadn't had a really hard time. Put about 50, 60 mLs under the cc's under the skin here and there, around the neck area is the best. Okay? So now, crock your chicken. I was going to show it to you, but I ain't got time. It's almost 2-hour tape here. So crock your chicken and then pour off all that fatty water and thing. Okay, now the summons. The summons. Raise the dog right correctly with a narrow waist. Don't feed your puppies a lot of food where they get big bellies. Feed them a couple of times a day, dry dog food. I take a little chicken baby food. Okay? And I take a teaspoon of that chicken you feed babies, infants, and I put in some water, and after I feed them, and I mix it up, they drink it. After they eat that dry dog food, small amount, just a little bit. In other words, you want to put a little moisture in the dog food, but not too much so they can digest it. But you don't want to feed them a lot of dry dog food and then let the body absorb moisture into the dog food to digest it, and then it leaves the body. You can dehydrate a puppy and never know it, and the skin pulls up. You want your dog to blossom. You want your dog to put on the nutrients in the correct fashion, and that's a good way. So if you raise your dog correctly, he's always got a little waist on him, boy, you're going to see he's going to grow tall in the legs and put on good muscle structure, no water weight. And then when he gets older, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's hard for you to strip his muscles and get him to the correct weight. It takes 6 months, a year with some dogs. And I've had to take dogs like that when they wanted me to condition a dog. I said, I'll have to keep this dog 6 months. Okay, Mr. Lemm, whenever you're getting ready, you let us know. Okay? And that's what I did. When I got him cleaned up, and it took just God, you just can't imagine how many times that dog has been off the treadmill and Flying Jenny or whatever. I use a treadmill all the time. The only time I use a Flying Jenny is to show people stuff and everything, because the treadmill can produce such a great work schedule. They can just produce their own work schedule. They can take care of themselves. They can recover. They can jump on top anytime they want. So, okay? So now, we done raised the dog right. He's cleaned up. He's near his weight. We put him on a 15-minute session. So no matter how long it takes for him to run that 15-minute session every day, on top, recover, on top, recover, take his heart rate. I suggest you guys really take his heart rate. Buy that Trackstar Polar, P-O-L-A-R, Polar, and it's a watch. It's a watch. You put on your thing, check your heart rate anytime you're running down the road. I suggest you buy this. It's only $127, guy. If you can't afford this, you ought not be in dog fighting. What are you doing? Gambling? Taking a chance? Taking food off the table from your kids? Well, buy this here. Buy the clock. Buy these vitamins and minerals. And if it takes a year, get a 10-speed bike and raise his heart rate. And when the lead rope goes slack, bring him on down to a long stride and do this. You will love it. You will love it. You will win, because there ain't that many people doing this. Okay? All these young guys that go into 3-time winners after I help them. They call me up, Mr. Lemm, I beat that 4-time winner. I said, well, who is this? They said, this is so-and-so. I said, boy, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Here, I got to go to work at 5. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lemm, I'm sorry. I'll call you tomorrow. That really doesn't bother me, but these guys are amazed. My friend Greg in New Jersey calls me up, says, Mr. Lemm. I said, yes, sir. He says, we finally lost one after 21 straight. I said, what do you mean, sir? He said, it wasn't any fault of your treadmill or the conditioning program. It's just that we got outdogged. I said, well, I appreciate that. Who is this? He said, this is Greg. I said, oh, hi, Greg. How you doing? He said, I just wanted to tell you that it wasn't your fault. I mean, I can't appreciate that. I can't dislike that. I mean, I can't even like that. I mean, I'm sorry he lost the fight. Greg's a good guy. They own 3 of my treadmills. So, 1 old one and 2 new ones. So they're doing great. My friend Philip, he wins him 14 straight and loses. And I seen the 15th one he lost, and then he went on to win some more. And he's going to win a whole bunch of more in a row because he has my treadmill. And his work schedule's a little different than mine because he works so many dogs, but technique, raising the heart rate, cleaning your dog up correctly, being on the right weight will produce a dog that can cool for 45 minutes, wide open in the contest. And if you don't believe me, you're a fool. Dead Serious has 2 of my treadmills. They do great. All them banjo puppies and crossed with that Jerry Clemens Eli Blood are just doing good. Them Eli dogs, and I can go on and on and on, guys, with people who own my treadmills. I've built 100 treadmills, and there's people out there doing it right. In other words, it's for the dogs. It's not all that blood and guts like I was talking about in the previous skate, and I forgot to tell you guys. That's that guy on hard copy, that little queer. Oh, he's a big guy. Every time he sees us fight a dog or my son fight a bull, he wets his pants, okay? And he is. He's a communist. He's a communist sneak with little cameras on the hat. Private shows, guy. Private shows. Don't get these big shows. No matter what. Tell these people that you want to have 5 suicides. And those 5 people that see you win, lose, or draw can make you more famous than any magazine or anything. And remember, the Journal, that Jack Kelly, he ain't going to help you. He ain't going to help you. He's going to cause problems with people like he did with me and Barney Fife, and he's going to have, and there's a lot of good information in the Journal. In the Journal, I would rather you people read the Game Dog Times, because he has that where he tells everything bad going on in the Journal. You need to know all these bad dog men and dog thieves, and the one that stole my carver jip, and I got her back because they sold it to some friends of mine. Matter of fact, they sold it to the guys who bought that red and white treadmill that made the cover on Fat Bill's magazine. So remember, guys, that magazine is really, as little as it is well worth the money, more so than a Journal. You need all that advertisement. All you need is to do the dogs that you got on your yard. You do it like I tell you, and you won't be breeding to no champion. Champion, win 3, put it in Bill's magazine. Okay, go on, 4, 5, and 6. Not like Jack Kelly. He loves to see everybody stop at 3. That way, everybody has a champion. Everybody's advertising. Everybody's selling puppies. Everybody's matching. Hey, you don't want that kind of information in the magazine, guys. You feel safe right now. You better be careful. That guy running around there, that homosexual running around there with that hard copy camera work is going to get you. It's going to get you and going to get us all if we don't be careful. Remember. So, now, you got the heart monitor. Wet it, put a little baby oil. Easy. Wet the solar plex, put it on there. Push that little button. Guess what? Heart rate. It's simple. Put your foot on the treadmill at the end of the 15-minute session. Don't take him off. Or you can if you want. But he's standing there. It's a cutaway design. It's perfect for your dog. That's why I did that. You don't have to stuff him in the end like these other trashy mills, these junk mills, and do that. You got it. Now, when you start adding work, 27 days before the contest, guess what, guys? Take his heart rate. You know what it was, what it's been, repetitiously, work every day. He produces his own work schedule, the same or less. Take him for his 5-minute walk. Cool him off if the weather is above 75, 80, 78 degrees. Bring him back. Make sure he's empty. Put him on the treadmill. Run for 5 minutes. 6th day of the keep. 15 minutes in. Good heart rate. You keep adding 5 minutes, you get another 15-minute session. And then you keep adding 5 minutes, you get another 15 minutes. And I suggest, if you're on one of my treadmills, that 3 15-minute sessions for a small dog up to 38 pounds, like a female, is plenty. Just level off there at those 3 15-minute sessions. 3 days before the contest, cut that in half. 2 days before the day before the contest, cut that in half again. And if you're at home and not on the road, put your dog on a treadmill for 5 minutes. I guarantee he's going to run it wide open for 5 minutes. This is the only reason why we progressively rest the dog this way and not just walk him out and then so that all this moisture, excess moisture that your dog has removed from his body will be now won't jump back into his body and take away his air. Okay? If you walk him out and don't progressively rest him like I tell you, well then all this moisture jumps in his body and you got to take away his water. Now, remember, gentlemen, this whole tape is to prove one thing to you people. When you use too much chemicals and you free condition your dog, you pump most of his cooling onto the ground. When you strength condition a dog and you use too much chemicals, you pump a large percentage of his cooling at that pit weight into his muscles. He has to take bottom. He cannot cool correctly. So fighting your dog on correct weight is very, very important. So I've enjoyed this tape and thank you guys and hope you learned something. The only dog that's going to beat you, if you do it my way, the only dog that's going to beat you is the one who out-conditions you the same way. Thank you.